Mike and Lena, guess what?
But,
Yeah.
I just started recording.
oh, thanks.
Not good. I apologize. Boy, this has been the day of mistakes for me. So we'll have a
Tomorrow's,
beautiful, we won't
tomorrow's
see
another day.
the wonderful, what people will miss will be the great, your great underpainting washes.
Yep.
Well, I guess I have to paint again tomorrow and send it to you.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, we can work on that.
Maybe just some photographs of the washes, you know, like
Yeah.
that we can add to the beginning. That, oh boy, I really can't believe I must. My age is showing.
I don't know if it's your age. It's just,
No, I think it was a bad start. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
But let me just say that Lena started out, this is a three colors, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and cobalt
Cobalt
blue
blue.
with a little cerulean, and some added in at the end, one of Daniel Smith's new grays, a cool gray. And she started with washes from the top in cobalt blue with a little bit of yellow
Cerulean.
ochre and cerulean, and then moved to some of the added cobalt blue and some of the burnt sienna, and then started on the barns. And you missed the whole story about how she started out 20 years ago as a nurse and just started to learn how to paint when she was still working but didn't have much time to do it.
A nurse midwife.
Nurse midwife in Sweden.
Yep.
And now she's a retired woman, a woman of leisure in State College, Pennsylvania. You didn't tell how you met your husband in high school and finally married him when you were
Grown-ups.
grown up, right? And came to the United States to be with him. He's Swedish also. So I apologize to everybody. Starting to really look great though. I love the snow.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I can stop being nervous.
Well, you know, you said that you were nervous when you started, and I thought to myself, once you get into it, you're into it, and nothing else is kind of there.
Yep. That's how it works.
Yep.
Then you forget about everything. That's the beauty of watercolor painting, I think, that you forget about making dinner and doing all the other stuff. You just paint. So when
Get lost.
yep. So all of a sudden you hear a voice, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? And I said, well, I don't know, I'm painting. So I'm sure many of you recognize that. We're not done yet. We have plenty of work to do here.
You using both? Are you using both cobalt and?
So now
cerulean and
now I'm actually using cobalt and yeah, what am I using? I'm using the it will come to me. It's a brown color.
Burnt sienna?
No,
Raw sienna. No, that would be yellow.
no, it's the it has a lot of
Brown matter?
sediment in
Burnt
it.
umber.
Burnt umber.
Nope. I hope I get it.
All right.
Not sepia. That's too dark.
Sepia.
Oh, it's sepia. Okay.
Exactly what we have. We have sepia. It's like painting with mud.
Yes. I like it because sometimes you just need a really dark brown.
Yep. All right. So that has to sit for a while, and I guess that I will go back to the roof and make it a little bit darker on this side. I think it needs to be darkened.
Your brush has a nice point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I will work on the silo and the shadows and the tracks in the snow, because I think the tracks in the snow makes the painting. Perhaps that's a little bit too. Yeah, tonight wasn't Murphy was with us tonight. Murphy's Law. That's what we call him, Murphy.
Do you know what kind of paint, what the paintbrush manufacturer is?
Yeah, this is Archer's Rough.
No, no,
Oh, the
your
brush.
brush.
Yes, the brush. It's a Rosemary Company brush
Ah,
from Great Britain.
yeah, they're great.
And I actually bought it from Vladislav Yeliseyev's website. And he's residing in Florida.
What's his name?
Vladislav Yeliseyev.
Gracious.
Yeah, he's a very accomplished artist and watercolor painter. He can paint everything.
I think you can buy rosemary brushes from Jackson
Mhm.
in the United Kingdom.
I'm sure there are other brushes that are good, but I like the point. It has such a nice point. Okay, and we need a bit of shadow back here. Right. I'm going to dry this again before I work on the silo and the shadows. So I mute myself for
Lena, while you're muted, I have to apologize to you for all your friends in Sweden who are going to be looking for the.
Right, they have to come back. When Lena will give us the stills to go with this, the work that she's working on.
Yeah.
well, things happen.
Yes,
It's
that's
just
true.
it's just a piece of paper.
Yes.
Okay, so gotta have some water. Some details on the silo. And this side is kind of dirty.
Yes, that's the way forms are.
Lena, you must have learned washes in that first, or in those workshops, the week-long workshops that you went to in Sweden.
Yeah.
Well, at least we covered a lot of paper area. Yeah, that story is fun. When you think about it, you're a beginner and you are asked to go and buy a full sheet of paper because that's what we are going to paint today.
That's a tough start.
It was a tough start.
What are you
So
using? What are you using
now
now?
I have some of the Jaune Brillant by Holbein and see if I can get some fun, nice effects. There we go. So I like the way that the opaque color creates texture. Okay. And now we have to have some shadows and some tracks in the snow. Let's see if we can connect shapes. Maybe that's a little bit too dark. And we have shadows from here to there to blue. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah. You're not afraid.
Good for you.
And cast shadow over here. That and from the silo.
Boy, that really brings it to life.
Yeah.
And some texture by splattering. And we have tracks. Snow.
Hmm.
We have tracks in the snow coming this way.
You probably paint a lot of snow paintings in Sweden.
Um, Well, I can tell you that the winters here in central Pennsylvania are worse than what I was used to.
Oh.
Because I used to live on the West Coast, the Gothenburg area where you have the Volvo plant. So it was near the ocean. And even if Sweden is far north, we had more rain and sleet than cold weather.
Mhm.
So if it snowed, it usually disappeared.
Huh.
I
I
mean,
didn't realize that.
yeah. But it was dark, pitch black
Yeah.
from, I would say, November till at least February.
And then in June, you have it all day long, it's light.
Yep. That was the opposite. This is a little bit too wet. See, what time is it? 8:05. Okay, I will dry my silo again. Okay. And now the silo needs a little bit more of something. That helped, I think.
Mhm.
Yep.
A little bit more definition. And when I paint, I try, as I mentioned before, I try to just go ahead and paint and not judge myself too much. And then I go back the next day and look at it with fresh eyes,
Yes.
because that's when I usually say it's a keeper or I have to put it in the trash bin. So. Because I think I get tired of looking at it for hours and I don't. I think many people agree with me that have a good night's sleep and then go back and look at it again. It's usually.
I very much agree that you have to walk away from it and come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. And I tone down snow. Okay, I think we need a little bit more. We need more. So we have a couple of fence posts on this side and on that side. So now I'm going to show you what I usually use when I paint telephone utility poles. And this is an old school ruler. And I use it not because I want it to be straight. That's not my main goal, but I will show you what I'm looking for. So I paint on the ruler itself. I put my painting flat and I stamp and I drag it a little bit sideways. And I like that effect that it gives me. I think this effect is more interesting to look at than if I paint a straight line with my brush. But of course, it depends on what scene you're looking for. But especially if I have a barn scene, a rural scene, it's kind of a weathered look. And if it's hard to see now on Zoom, you will see it better when I take a photo tomorrow.
I should tell you, Lena, that we've gotten a couple of questions, which I think mostly can wait until you're done, because I'm fascinated by your process.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I would say continue with that, and then you can answer these individual questions, some of which you've answered already.
Yep. And yeah, we are almost there. So an old school ruler is coming handy. Yeah, and I remember that that was something that we practiced at this art school, several ways of making interesting lines without really using your brush.
Uh-huh.
So when I think about what I learned, I use bits and pieces of it now. And I'm not that afraid of trying. And I think we have a little bit of a wire coming that way. Unfortunately, the wire broke here, so there's no continuing. And little bit more of the splatter. Okay, and I think, so my last step, you have to make sure the watercolor crease is not here, right?
Yes.
Check, is the watercolor crease, then you put down your titanium white or Chinese white. You're not allowed to use it. That was what I was taught. But I can't see the watercolor crease, so I'm using just a hint of the white on this side here. And perhaps darken the top of the silo over here. All right. I think this is enough.
Excellent. So before you go too far away, let me see if I can get the questions up here. Oh, someone, Paulette wanted to see the reference photo that you used.
All right, yes. Here it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
But when you talked about it, one of the things that we didn't record was that you were going to just, we're not going to use the blacktop of the road, but actually do the road with snow covering on it so that the shadows and lines of
And
the
the
tracks
track.
would show up more. So you were not wedded to the photograph.
Absolutely not. That's a good point of reference.
Yeah, I think that the first time I painted this scene was actually, I was driving there and the road wasn't cleared. So it was so beautiful with all the shadows and the tracks. And
Yeah.
then the next time I drove by, of course, the snow was gone, almost gone. So.
One of the other questions was, what color did you use on the sunny side of the, oh, I'm sorry, of the silo? I thought,
Right.
I read it.
What was the base color for the sunny side?
That color.
That color. This is the Jaune Brillant by Holbein. Brilliant yellow. It's an opaque color.
Did you use that as the base color or was that put on after?
It was
The base color was the paper was the base.
Yeah, the paper was the base on this side, and here we had a mix of the the cobalt, the burnt sienna, and some sepia.
And can you say the name of that color again, please?
The Jaune Brillant,
Spell it.
wait a minute,
Jaune.
U-N-E.
yes,
And then French brilliant.
brilliant,
Brilliant
brilliant,
yellow in French.
yeah. So it's fun to use that as a, when you finish something, you highlight something.
When we were discussing the browns before, and the word that escaped you for the moment, Glenn Blue said sepia.
Yeah, it was sepia, that's right.
Yep, yep.
That was
Yeah,
sepia.
I was way off. I thought misread the question. I thought you were talking somebody, Paulette asked about the sunny side, and I read barn, and of course she didn't say barn, she said silo.
Yes, well,
Yeah, so the first layer was just the white paper, and then I added the Jaune Brillant. And I did that because I wanted the effect, the texture that it makes, and especially when it starts to run down in the more dark parts here. So yeah, this is my painting process, and I don't know what to say. It's not that many colors, but
it's a terrific effect.
yeah, I enjoy the texture effect of it.
Uh-huh.
That's what I like. And I mean, if I see a painting with many colors in it, I can be in awe for the excellence that someone has painted, but I can't do it myself.
Well, you don't really have to. You have to do what you do.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a Scandinavian thing also, that you are, that's what many people do. You paint in blue tones and not that very colorful.
It's an IKEA painting.
Yeah, it's an IKEA painting, that's right. And yes, I never mentioned, I mentioned it when we practiced last week, but that could be interesting for the participants to hear, that watercolor painting is extremely popular in Scandinavia. That is what people like to hang on their walls. They buy art, mainly watercolor paintings, and they take classes and workshops and go painting themselves. So it's a big thing. It's the new golf.
Ah,
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lena, how much do you paint outdoors in the winter in Sweden? I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it because it's not always below freezing. It's above freezing point. So if I'm there during the winter time, I can definitely go out and paint. But the problem is the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dark out.
It's
Right,
dark.
the light goes away, makes
Yeah.
it tough to paint.
But I have one of my first outdoor paintings from this area was an abandoned barn just down the road from where we live. And a friend of mine, I was complaining about I didn't have any inspiration what to paint. And she said, I have to kick you out in the open air and let's go paint. And so we did in January.
Yeah.
A snowy day. And the sun was out, so it was above freezing point. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever done. And the painting turned out to be really nice, I have to say, because I was so inspired by the white snow and the old barn wood and the old roof, and overgrown surroundings. So that was a new thing. But of course, I have painted in colder weather too, with no success. And one memory I had was I learned how to add alcohol in the water, the painting water.
Yes.
And I had some rubbing alcohol, and I poured it in, and I poured in more and more. And well, I had to stop to paint, and my painting was still covered with ice crystals. And everything was fine until I put everything in my car and turned the heat on. And everything started to thaw. And that alcohol scent, I thank God it was not far away from my home, but I was thinking if a police stops me now, I will be in trouble. It was, well, it was a lot of alcohol scent in my
Is the
car.
painting okay, though?
No.
No.
It was a disaster, but I had fun for a couple of, maybe half an hour until I gave up.
Yeah, until the paint freezes on the paper.
Yeah, and on the palette everywhere.
Yeah.
And the brush froze and everything froze.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But you gotta try.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I think that this is it. And any more?
Carol, do you want to unmute everybody in case there are
Yeah.
things
Well,
other
actually,
people want to say?
Everybody has to unmute themselves.
Oh, okay.
So
And
if you want to share your, just say hi, bye, or hi, Annie Strack.
Hi, Carol.
Again, I have to apologize for sending out an incorrect Zoom invitation. I'm glad everybody that's here tonight found the right one. And I also, boy, this is my day for messing up. Apologize for not recording the first 20 minutes or so of the, didn't record Mike.
I'm kind of getting used to that.
And poor Lena, who
they missed my first paintbrush.
here,
The rusty one.
I'm gonna put the spotlight on you for a minute, Lena, so that we can see your big paintbrush. Show us the big paintbrush again. The one that you picked, that you bought. That's the one she bought when she took the first class that she had.
Yeah.
So she's had it for 20 years.
Yeah, it's the kind of brush you use when you paint windows, and it's not for watercolor painting. So yes, it was a very experimental approach to my watercolor classes that I went to.
Well, you had a big piece of paper to work with, so they made you get a big brush.
Yeah, and I remember I was sitting there looking at my tiny little brush, and I thought, well, this is not going to end well. I have to have a different approach. So, yeah.
Love
I do have a question.
Yes.
Carol,
Glenn, go ahead.
just about the watercolor paper, because I always like to ask other watercolorists, just about paper, just to hear other people's comment. Is there a particular reason that you prefer Arches over some of the other popular brands out there?
If I speak for myself, I think that, well, when I started to paint, I started on Fabriano. And I liked the Fabriano cold press. I didn't like the structure of the rough grain, but then I continued and tried arches, and it was such a big difference. And I've used it ever since, until maybe a year ago or 1.5 years ago, when I think something has changed with the sizing, the formula of the paper. I don't know if many of you have the same feeling.
Yeah.
So I have tried Saunders and I like it a lot. And I also tried Hahnemühle from Germany, and that's also a very good paper.
Have you been able to buy the Hahnemühle in the United States?
Yes, through
Cheap Joe?
Yeah,
Joe's?
Cheap
Okay.
Joe's.
Yeah, I haven't had any luck. I wanted to try it out and see what it's like, but Cheap Joe's, okay.
Thank you.
But I think that's a interesting question, Glenn. What do you prefer? I've seen your paintings in real life, and yeah, they are very beautiful.
I'm the same way. I prefer, I've tinkered around with a lot. I do also prefer arches, and I have also noticed it has changed. And so, you have to kind of roll the punches and figure out how to work it now. But I still tend to go to that just because I'm used to the way it handles paint, scrubbing, water, all the things. And if you run into trouble, it just seems to be more forgiving than a lot of the other papers.
Yes.
So I agree. I tend to go towards arches as well, and I've tried a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And do you use rough or cold press? Does it depend?
I use both. I do both. Yeah. I like rough and cold press. For 140 or 300, tend to like 140. I'm okay with the buckling now. I also tried Fabriano, and I also noticed the same thing, that the rough texture on the Fabriano seemed to be very repetitive looking and not like a rough press on the arches. But I like either cold or rough, just depending on the texture you're trying to get.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
Saunders Waterford is Saunders Waterford is really softer than arches, and I find it's not as forgiving.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yeah, especially if you're scrubbing or working on it for a longer time, then arches tends to take that better than Saunders.
Yes, arches let you do a lot.
Yeah.
It's very forgiving. So I think it's just figure out how the new formula works. I think after 20 years, if I live that long, I might get it again, but it's a little bit different. It is.
Yeah.
So Glenn, are you the demonstrator in April?
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Yes.
I will try to get my act together by then.
Boy, I hope so.
I'm going to send something out soon. I think I'm going to try something with everybody. So I might send something out and actually have everybody, if they want to, follow along, and I'll send a pre-thing out of what I'm going to do so everybody can sketch one out. We can all work together.
Oh, that'll be cool.
That'd be cool.
And we can go, Glenn, if you want. If it takes longer, we can go longer than 9 o'clock if you want to.
I'm going to challenge everybody to hustle, but we'll see. We might even work on 2 at a time. One's drying and then bounce back. So I don't know. We'll try it. I've never done 2 hours, so we'll try it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody else have anything to say? Questions, comments?
Just thank you so much, Lena. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed your demo, and
Well, thank you so much.
all your expertise and work. Lovely.
The washes glow, Lena. Thank you very much. And the salt for the tops of the frozen tree branches. And the distance, it just delicate and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we call it an evening then? I'm gonna.
Okay,
stop.
I guess that's it.
Thank you.
Thank
Peter.
you
Thanks,
very much.
everybody.
Thanks all for coming.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you very much for being patient with me also.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I'm
Thank you
pleased.
for, thank you for having me, and I will look at the other demos in April and May and whenever you have
Yeah.
them.
Well, now you have a Lena join NFWS so that you can get our demo invitations.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks for
Bye-bye,
coming.
Thank you so
everybody.
much. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.
You.
Bye.